AI has brought some interesting new advances into how organizations have to think about the interplay of data, people, organizational readiness, change in human behavior. You can't just jump right into it. You kind of need to be a little bit strategic, thinking about the technology foundation or the tech stack that sort of has to be in place and be ready to be able to get the most out of any investment you make in AI, whether that's in finance or more broadly across the organization. So maybe Kwame, I'll start with you. When you think about the technology, the tech stack, the foundation required at MTN Ghana, like where did you guys start and how did you think about that as part of your journey?
Sure. So I have a framework that I use, and I view the stack as three layers. The first layer is the system of meaning. And what that is composed of is it's the definitions, the chart of accounts. It's the thing that makes us talk to each other and have sense when we talk to each other. So that's the first foundation that needs to be in. The second layer is the system of record. And this is where that system has to have governance, auditability, and it has to be structured. It has to have workflows. Once you've got those two, you can then layer on top a system of intelligence. And that system then is you can have AI run LLMs. It's how you do variance analysis. And if you've got those three, for me, that is the stack you need. And that's basically the framework I follow.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to come back and ask you a bit about governance, but Ken, what's your point of view on that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I thought Hugh and Brandon talked a lot about data. I'm on the IT side, so we've had a very strategic plan to put systems like Vena in place, the structured data, but also look at our unstructured data. And so we've had a 3-year roadmap. We're 2 years in, and AI is in all of the platforms. So now having that process-oriented view, being able to look at how, as we've been talking about all morning, how can you look at kind of tying all this information together, whether it's structured or unstructured. So we've had, a very formal roadmap approach, and now we're kind of in this place where it's like, what is possible? It's a very exciting time.
Yeah, and you both agreed on this idea of governance, and we're going to talk in a few minutes about where that governance lives from an organizational perspective. But I'm curious to dig into some of those layers a little bit. When you think about the technology governance, do you have any thoughts on I guess you guys come at it from a little bit of a different perspective, but uh, without leading into too much the next questioning, how do you think about the governance and does some of that live within the functions themselves, or is it something that you own as an IT organization? Like who decides who has access to what when you think about these AI systems coming in? Do you centralize that within IT? Does that sit at the functional level? How do you guys think about that?
At Mission Rocket is a very collaborative thing.
Yeah.
So I help run the advisory board as well as some of the governance processes. And we've been prototyping a lot of AI tools, but it is a collaborative thing. It's not the AI, IT's doing it out. These all have to have business outcomes. The reason we're using any of these tools or putting any of these systems in place is for the business outcomes. So it is a collaboration process, though, and we have a handful of users that are prototyping it and really trying to think about what are those use cases? How can we get the ROI, as we talked about a little bit earlier? And so it's intentionally cross-functional, small group right now with the plan of rolling it out to a larger audience next year. And I'll
And
also say that for us, we hear a lot about AI, but for us, it's all about enterprise intelligence, right? So that's the word, the vernacular that we're pointing towards
I
here.
love that.
And I'm glad that you guys are talking about the human element of it, because AI is a tool. It's very exciting. It's changing the way that we approach and are able to do our business. But we also are talking about the people. How do we reinforce and train them to make the appropriate decisions and to let them know that AI is not about reducing the headcount per se, but it's about making us grow the business and scale in ways that can be very competitive.
Yeah,
So enterprise intelligence is the term that we're internally using as we're talking about this type of transformation.
definitely.